What's going on, everybody? Welcome back today on Join My Ride. And I wanted to share with you today why I quit my job after working for other people for, I would probably say, around 20 years, and why I will never work for anybody else again, period. Never. I quit my job in 2021 after turning 40. I am not looking back. I am the happiest person I've ever been making money. I have multiple streams of income coming in, and things are happening for me. So things are really good. I cannot complain, and I'm going to tell you about it right now. So, as I said, I quit my job in 2021, and simply after working for so many people, so many different companies, so many different shops and jobs and things like that, I literally had enough of people just simply taking advantage of me. Taking advantage of somebody in a workplace does not necessarily mean that they overuse you or whatever. They might use you normally, but then they underpay you. So it's either or. I believe I was underpaid for what I was providing. From what I saw in the history of where I was working all those years, every single business owner, when you ask them for a raise, or when he tries to give you a raise, they always have a million and gazillion excuses where they don't have too much money coming in, even though that you're working on estimating jobs and project managing and know exactly how much money is coming into the company and what the payroll is and how many people work and all that other stuff. So even that, there's always issues in making more money. So one of the biggest things why I stopped working for somebody else is that I realized that working for someone else, I will never be able to make the amount of money that I want to make to provide my family, my kids, my wife, and myself the current life that I want, and for my kids a future that I want. That will never happen working for somebody else. Unless you're making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 working for somebody else doing God knows what, it ain't gonna happen. For a normal person, 90% of people, this is not gonna happen when you're working for somebody else. Simple as that. So that was the main reason. I realized I'm not gonna make the amount of money that I need to make. Also, if I wanted to do something on the side as an extra income, which I do now, I really didn't have time. I didn't have energy. I didn't have the mental energy to do it, because when I came back from work, I was working long hours. I was working hard mentally and physically, and I was just exhausted. I did not want to do anything else. That's why most people, when they come back from their normal jobs, all they want to do is sit down on the couch and watch TV all evening, because they don't have energy to do anything else. And even though I worked those jobs and it was tough, I still tried to do some side stuff, but it never took off like it took off when I quit and I started doing everything on my own. I had more time. I could schedule my day the way I wanted to schedule it, put as much time to my side hustles and my main hustle as I wanted to. So that was a big deal, because I was finally in charge of my time and what I put it towards. So that's a huge issue right there. Now, the big thing that gave me a chance to quit my job and to restart everything over, I mean, when I quit my job, I already had a lot of years of experience in the field that I work in, which is stone repair and restoration. And I've had experience in fabrication, installation, and all that other stuff. I've had years of experience of estimating jobs, of dealing with high-end clients, of just knowing the business from the bottom all the way to the top. So that was a huge plus for me. I worked for two separate companies. One company ran the business into the ground. They just ran it the wrong way. The second company was the total opposite. Great customer service. Prices were never the lowest out of the marketplace. They were always at the high end. But the gentleman that ran that company, he developed the company for a while, and he created himself a clientele base that paid his prices, even though his prices were higher than 2/3 of the market doing the same thing. Because they knew the quality of the work, and they knew the customer service, and they knew the punctuality, and all that other stuff. So that was another one. The big kick in the butt that made me do it and that allowed me to do it was our family decided to move from one state to another. So we lived in New York for 24 years. We decided to move to Texas after 24 years. And when I moved to Texas, I was in a whole new place. I didn't know anybody. Nobody knew me. I had to be completely self-reliant and start everything from scratch, from nothing. So I started building my business from nothing. And the way I started building it is like this. When I came here, when I was in New York, I had my contacts. I worked for fabricators. I knew contractors. I knew designers. I knew a lot of different people that use that kind of service. In Texas, I didn't know those people. I didn't know any people. So what I started to do is, in New York, I used to work with designers, fabricators, builders, all those kinds of guys. So I set myself a 25-mile radius from where I lived. And I researched every single company that did anything that would have them be curious about my service and possibly use my service. I went to their websites. I found their email addresses. I found the names of the owners of the company, and I found their phone numbers. It took me a while, but I did it. I compiled the list, and I started calling everyone, emailing everyone, and that's pretty much it. Of course, probably I would want to say 80% of people didn't reply to me at all. 10% of people replied but wasn't interested. And then the other 10% of people replied, were interested, and have built business relationships with me since that time. So I've had a few companies that I work with now for almost 3 years that I'm in Texas, and we've built those relationships just because I found them in the way that I found them. Of course, I do advertise a little bit. Of course, I have an Instagram account that's for business, a separate phone line, and all that. And that's it. But the whole story comes down to, I did not want to depend on somebody else to provide a check and a salary for me anymore. When I lived in New York, there were lockdowns. They couldn't do anything. I couldn't do anything. I was not allowed to make any money. So what I did is, when I came to Texas, I started a business, a service business that I have to go out of my house to provide the service. But I also grew 2 YouTube channels that provide me an income already, and they're growing week to week. If any of that situation happens again, and I'm kind of stuck home for some reason, I'm still making money. You cannot depend on only one stream of income anymore in this life. You used to be able to. A husband used to be able to work and the whole family would be at home, and that's fine. Then it changed where a husband and a wife had to work. But now, for most people, even a husband and a wife isn't enough anymore. Everything got so expensive. So because of that, I started to run my business, make the money that I want, price my services the way I want, make my schedule the way that I want. Because when I make my schedule, whatever I want to put towards my main business, which is the service business, I do. But any extra time that I have other than that, I can schedule it where I put it towards my side hustles, which would be the YouTube and some other stuff that I do, and grow that as well. So multiple streams of income coming in, and the situation for me is getting better and better and better, and I feel safer and safer and more comfortable. And since I quit my job after 40, after working for 20 years, I have never, after a few months of stress, yes, because I had to decide what to do and how to grow it, but since then, I have never been this calm, relaxed, focused, and just happy with what I do. I will never work for somebody else again, period, ever again. Unless that is my last lifeline, working for somebody. That's it. It will never happen. Never. My wife worked for a company for 17 years. She worked there in multiple positions. Started in a warehouse, worked in the office, then was in managerial positions. Their main company was on Long Island in New York. She moved into managerial positions in the city, in Manhattan. She knew that company from the bottom up. She worked there for 17 years. She got pregnant pretty much just before COVID hit. When COVID hit, they used that time to basically downsize the company, and they let my wife go. After 17 years and great years of work and helping to grow that company. They didn't care. Even though my wife had 2 kids, we definitely needed an income. They didn't care. Working for some other company, for some other person, all you are is just a number. They might ask you personal questions. How's your family, or how's your son, or how's your daughter? Listen, 95% of your employers, they don't give a shit about your life, your family, your income, your bills, and nothing else. So remember that. Create a way out for yourself from the 9 to 5. Create a way out to be free financially, to be happy, to be excited, to do what you want to do, not what somebody tells you to do. But don't take it the wrong way. This is not something that you can start. This is not something that you can start working for yourself and start a business and still sit on your couch all day waiting for customers to come to you and find you. That's not how it works. You got to put in the time. You got to contact people. You got to do the work. You got to be punctual. You got to be good at what you do. Do not overpromise. Be transparent and explain exactly what is going to be provided, what the result is going to be, so the customer knows exactly what they get for what they pay. Simple as that. I'm never going back to working for somebody else. I've been the happiest I've ever been since I left a job and created my own business and my own side hustles. It's never been better. Thank you guys. I hope this motivates you to start on your own, start YouTube, start your own business, start something, even while you work at some other job. Because that gives you an opportunity to start, grow it a little bit, and then feel safer switching over. Enjoy your day. Thank you for taking a ride with me. Hasta la vista.